Snoopers gonna snoop, Snoopers gonna snoop, Snoopers gonna snoop, bitch, no extra bitch.
Alright, you guys, welcome back. This is Snoopers Gonna Snoop YouTube channel. I got my girl White Gold, my guy Dizzie's here with us. We're gonna give you guys our the Batman spoiler review. Alright, this is gonna have tons of spoilers. We're gonna have like a discussion, you feel me, about the spoilers and what we thought about the film. So now we're gonna be able to get into detail. So before we move on, click out of this video if you don't want any spoilers, all right? Click out now, go watch our non-spoiler review. Get out of here right now, this is your chance, all right? Going once, going twice. All right, so we're here for spoilers, all right? Me and Dizzie was talking about earlier that I forget the actor's name from Eternals.
Barry Keoghan.
That was rumored to be the Joker in this movie. To be honest with you, it was so vague. We don't even know if that was really Barry as the Joker. You know what I'm saying? It was so much of a vague shot. Of course, voice-wise, I could tell it was him. But I was telling him, I feel like the scene wasn't needed. It should have been maybe like a post-credit, like maybe at the time it was like a shot of the Riddler in jail, and then of course, guessing if you haven't seen it, the Joker was in jail. So I was like, or in Arkham. So for me, I feel like that maybe you could have showed the shot of the Riddler in jail, and then at the end of the movie, then you kind of extend the shot, and then you show maybe Joker at the time and tease for a build-up. I also thought maybe that since the Joker was in jail, the guys that we saw Batman beat up in the first 15 minutes of the movie were a part of his crew. Was a part, yeah. And I think the story that they're going with is in the Batman versus Superman movie. Remember they had the statue of Robin, who the Joker had killed, and he spray painted on the statue or whatever. Like I told you, I think that was the second Robin in that franchise or in that storyline. There was two Robin. I think it was Nightwing first in that storyline, and then, or it was Robin first, or whoever, Dick Grayson. It's hard to get Robin's story.
I can't remember because I ain't seen Batman v Superman in the
There's a statue in that thing where Joker has obviously in that universe, since Batman is older, he has killed whoever was Robin in that universe. So what I'm thinking is that the kid that had half the face, who hadn't, I guess, gained his whole face to be a part of the crew yet, and I guess that was his initiation to attack that woman. He might end up being Robin more so than the kid in this universe. And then, like you said, Joker could pop up in the third film to end the trilogy. What if Joker kills Robin in the third trilogy?
But see that, but it's like, so with the whole Joker thing, I kind of disagree with what he was saying. The Joker tease at the end really didn't bother me all that much. I was just sort of like, okay, cool, you know what I'm saying? So we know that he's in here. Now as to when we're going to see him, we don't really know. All we do know is that there's going to be a Penguin spinoff show that's going to be on HBO Max. I don't know when that's coming, but I'm really excited for that. And then also, there's going to be...
that'll be good.
Yeah, most definitely. And then there's going to be an Arkham Asylum show. So...
I'm gonna like that.
Yeah. So in the Arkham Asylum show, they might highlight certain villains that might end up playing a bigger part in the main Batman trilogy. So if the Joker shows up in the third movie, I feel like what they're doing is they're going to do a bit of like a long build up to the Joker, because as we all know, when it comes to Batman, the other side of the coin is the Joker. That is Batman's greatest enemy, just like how Lex Luthor is to Superman, just like how Green Goblin is to Spider-Man, just like how Dr. Doom is to Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they're building up to that. I don't know. Now, do I think the Joker scene was needed? Probably not. I don't think it was needed. If it wasn't in there, I'd be, you know what I'm saying, I'd be all right with it. But I was like, hey, that's okay, whatever. But I don't expect to see him anytime soon. So if we do see him or get another glimpse of him, it might be in the Arkham Asylum show. But that's just how I feel about that. So.
How do you feel about in this storyline? I think this is from Batman Earth, where his parents have bad juju. Like his dad ended up being in cahoots.
Yeah.
And then his mom's
Like it was corrupt.
parent, it was corrupt. And his mom's parents were Arkhams.
Right.
And we didn't know that. Like I didn't know that until last night.
Like Martha was an Arkham.
Was an Arkham
Yeah.
before she married Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So I was like, because we talked about it when we were watching the Batman movies about Arkham. Like we wanted to know. I told her because in the game Injustice, Arkham, in the Arkham Asylum Batman game, it gets crazy. Like it shows really how Arkham is and what it really is capable of. And when you start thinking about it, it's like, well, they should do a show or something like a movie that is based maybe out of Arkham Asylum. Like, didn't Arthur Fleck in the Joker, isn't that where he left off? Was Arkham Asylum, or was that like a dream?
No, it was. Well, I mean, Joker 2 has been. I don't know if it's been greenlit yet or whatever, but I think we are going to get a Joker sequel. Now, I don't know what's going on as far as the end of that movie is concerned, because I mean, I would like to say that he is in Arkham or whatever, and from what I remember, there were like a couple other inmates running down the hallway with him or something like that. So it's really hard to tell what's happening, but maybe he's going to free all the other Arkham inmates or something like that, or just or he's gained like this following in Arkham or something. I don't know. But just going back to what y'all were saying, they are trying to create a whole Batman universe. So what's going to happen is, besides the main films and the trilogies, we're probably going to get shows or movies dealing with different aspects of Gotham. Because I will say this about this first movie, and I know that there have been criticisms about there not being as much action or not following the same sort of blueprint that the Nolan trilogy followed. There's nothing wrong with action in a Batman film. But if you are trying to establish a world, this new Batman universe, and this is where we're going to be staying at for a while, the two things that you need to get down and make sure that you solidify from the jump is Batman himself and Gotham City. Because in this film, the two of the biggest things that jumped off screen for me and just like took me in was the atmosphere of Gotham, how dark and dangerous it is. Gotham looked disgusting.
It was raining almost every day.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Gloomy.
Just looked dark, disgusting and all that. And then Batman is parallel with that. And one of the great things that they did, and of course this is what Batman is, he is the person that most criminals and that most villains fear. Like only a few people out of that entire group of criminals or villains are willing to stand up to this dude. But Batman is supposed to be the person that these people fear, and they executed that perfectly in this. You know what I'm saying? They really took their time, you know what I'm saying, to build that up. Especially in the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie, they established Batman and they established Gotham as being these dark entities that are at play to really, really have you invested in this. You know what I'm saying? Batman just seemed very, you know what I'm saying, he was just dark, dangerous, those moments where criminals look into the shadows or whatever, and then you hear the footsteps coming. They don't know what's coming. They see the bat signal in the sky, and you know they know that he's out there, but they don't know where. They don't know where.
Right.
But then they hear the footsteps, and they're just like, oh shit, you know, like damn, like I might get got right here.
Yep.
And that's what happened in the first 15 minutes. That crowd, that group of skinhead motherfuckers, whoever those people were.
Yeah.
They tried to beat up that old man, and Batman just came out and just said, now look, man, y'all can't be doing this. And he just came out and whooped their ass.
It's really grounded too. It's like really, really grounded crime. Yeah. I think what was more impressive for me in this movie than the Christian Nolan, or the Nolan trilogy, excuse me. Christopher, excuse me, is that like the Falcones was like really flamboyant mob. This was more what the mob is, more serious tone. Like it wasn't like flamboyant as in like you can't fuck with me, this is how badass my mob is. It was more like business, how like real life mob, that it was like it was like a crime detective Batman comic book came to life. Like every bit of it, like that, like all the action shots that you normally get out of a Batman movie where he's posing. I thought about it last night. It's like if you took pictures of those moments, they look like they're out of a comic book. Like the frames that comic book people put, the pictures and the shots they get of epic moments happening. If you took a picture at any of those moments, when he's looking at the crime scenes, when he's out of the cow, he was emo, like a lot of those things I see in comic book shots. And so I was like, man, this is a really like comic book movie came to life. I think my summary out of the whole thing is like I told her, is that I think this is a 89 Batman movie, or the 89 Batman in 2022. And it's very, well, and it's longer. So I would put like, if you had a 3-hour 89 Batman movie, then this would be it.
Modernized.
This would be it. You know what I'm saying? It's so similar to Worlds. The only thing Gotham didn't do with the Tim Burton world is rain. Other than that, it was just as gloomy. It was just as dark. It was just as weird. It was just as big. It didn't look modern like Tim Burton's Gotham was more like, you know, Marvel like New York City. Like you can't tell where Tim Burton's Gotham is. You can kind of tell where this is, but it was so rainy and so dark, and they took the shots they took. They didn't give you real noticeable places in New York or that you have seen in movies or Chicago, wherever they shoot at, or Atlanta. They didn't give you those noticeable shots. Right. They gave you shots where you couldn't tell where this was. Even when him and Catwoman were at that spot where him and Gordon meet at, and looking out to the city, you couldn't tell it's New York.
It's like,
can't tell what that is.
See, but that's what was so. See, that's what this film was more interested in. Instead of giving y'all action scenes that try to make the character of Batman himself seem more interesting, because I feel like with the Nolan trilogy, that's what the Nolan trilogy ended up doing after Batman Begins, because like it's like Batman sort of took like a back seat to let all these other characters like flourish. And as far as the Joker in The Dark Knight is concerned, I mean, hell, you're gonna take back seat to that anyway. That's a top 10 all-time performance right there. I don't care who you are, what you say, or whatever. It just is. But it's like they fashioned everything around the character of Batman and who he is right now. And he was the central theme. He was the main focus. So they probably focused more on that than wanting to give you a whole bunch of action scenes to fill up, to fill up the time. And for a new Batman universe and for a new story, those things had to be solidified. Those things had to be laid down first. Because with the second and third movie in this trilogy or whatever is coming, now they'll be able to build upon what was done in this first movie. And the thing about Tim Burton's films, and of course I grew up on Batman 89, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Like I had all the VHS tapes and everything. With Tim Burton's, with his films, the thing that I always liked about his Gotham City is that it looked, gothic. You know what I'm saying? It looked dark. I will say though that Tim Burton's movies, his Gotham City was a little more, and I heard somebody say this in another interview, that his Gotham City's a little more lit up than this one was. I mean, this is the darkest depiction of Gotham I've seen on film. But Tim Burton still has that dark, thing to it or whatever. But I understand what he's saying though. It has that same sort of feel, like it's almost like, it almost doesn't exist. It feels like it's not even connected to anything else for real. Like it's its own thing. Like, you know, it's a city in America perhaps, but you don't know where. Like it's like what people say about New York, right? Like, we know New York City is a part of America, but it also feels like it doesn't exactly belong.
Like it feels like we can't visit there, which is supposed to because we can't.
Yeah.
Like DC is more their own world, like Metropolis.
Yeah.
And what's the Flash is from Central City.
Central City.
It's things like that where they have their own place. You go to the Avengers, Tony Stark and shit in New York. You know, West Coast Avengers is in, you know, what it's always a grounded place more so in Marvel. In DC, I think they did, like I said, like looking at that skyline, and as orange as it was every time we saw it, I don't know where I was. I don't know that I was like, even when Gordon was in the Dark Knight trilogy, you can tell he was in the middle of the fucking city on a building. In the middle of the city. Like, you turn around, every time you turn around, there's a building there, building there, building
You
there.
can tell he was in Chicago, because I'm gonna say this. Like, there were a couple times in this movie where, like, there was one scene where Batman and Catwoman, they were crossing the bridge. And if you've seen the Dark Knight trilogy, of course, in the Dark Knight, I think we've seen that bridge, like, going over the river or whatever. So, like, but like in the Dark Knight, like, you see, if you were to take a look at the city of Chicago, like you went on Google Images or something, and you looked at different pictures of Chicago, you're gonna see a couple places from those Google Images in, you know what I'm saying, in the Dark Knight or whatever. But I think what you alluded to earlier, when I was looking at this film, like 96% of it, 97% of it, I couldn't even recognize it because, yeah, they shot in very prominent American cities, but they did it in such a way, or probably like they did something to where like I couldn't even really recognize it. They probably went to these same cities and gotten locations that have never been used before, but give off the same effect. I know Matt Reeves was talking about that in one of the interviews. Like one of the interviewers asked him, like, you know, so where'd you get your ideas to to shoot here and to shoot there and all that? And they were, Greg Fraser, who was the cinematographer on this film, some of the shots that they have of the city and even some of the close-up shots, like with Batman, with just his head or whatever and his facial expressions, even in the eyes, like Greg Fraser absolutely nailed that, you know what I'm saying? And but there were a lot of really good shots in this thing. I think Zoe Kravitz did a good job. I'm sorry, but she's not Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer had to walk. I was telling her about that last night. She was struggling with that walk. She's not as sleek and sexy and promiscuous, and there's an energy that Michelle Pfeiffer had with that thing. It was almost like she was it. But she also had to go crazier. This was more, I felt like she reminded me more of Kate Bishop from fucking Hawkeye than she did remind me of Michelle Pfeiffer with an attitude and I'm Catwoman. You know what I mean? Like, it was a different take on, even Anne Hathaway. It's just a different take on Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't used to it, but she did a good job. Yeah, this Selena Kyle is not there yet. Even when Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, she was already there, but it was just a different version. Mm-hmm. Because, like, aside from the Riddler, Jim Gordon, Batman, Selena Kyle, Penguin, they are not at the level yet that you would expect them to be at. With Michelle Pfeiffer, she is the most classic example of what people think Catwoman is, because we know Catwoman is an anti-hero, but she was more so a villain in Batman Returns. Well, I don't know. Catwoman kind of like, swerves or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She's an anti-hero. That's what she does. But she was more villain in Batman Returns. But it was like, I mean, of course, and Michelle Pfeiffer fucking killed that. That's such an iconic performance. But like, this Selena Kyle, this Catwoman, she's just not there yet. Just like Batman is not there yet. They have to grow into their fully realized selves. Because Catwoman Selena Kyle, she's still dealing with a lot of trauma. You know what I'm saying? Carmine Falcone.
Internal bullshit.
Yeah, internal bullshit. Bruce Wayne is still dealing with the same thing. That's why he is Batman. That's why he has such an addiction to wanting to be Batman. You know what I'm saying? For most of his time, because like it's him trying to cope with that. You know what I'm saying? Cope with all that mess that he's got going on inside of him. And so, but like with the walk, I noticed that too. It's like she knows, because I will say the part in the beginning where she goes into 44 Below, which is the name of the club that Penguin has, and I thought that was so funny, the name 44 Below, because like you're a penguin in Antarctica and shit, it's real cold. Like
it's just about the way they did it.
Yeah, it's just about the way they did it. But it was like when she walked into the club, now she had a strut, you know, she had something. But then there was other times where, you know, she was walking a little more regular. Now that could also be, you know, her becoming becoming whatever she needs to be in a certain situation. So, you know, so it could be that, but I mean, it's just the more, you know, she's not there yet.
And I don't know how Robert Pattinson and her didn't fall in love, because them shots where they were like almost kissing but looking into each other, gazing it. I don't know if it's just maybe him, because I felt the same. I felt a more elite, legionist level form of compassion. It wasn't so Disney down like Twilight. Twilight's Disney. It's got the strings playing in the background. It's so Disney. This one, he was like, I ain't never seen nothing like this before. But she was like, I'm trying to fight back from, because it's almost like they already know how they feel about each other. But according to what Batman got going on, he know he can't do it. What she got going on, she knows she can't do it. But they're both amazed at the fact that they know. And they're looking at it, and they're trying to like gather the moment for the second and get as much of it as they can. Those shots, I was like, I expected his non-talkingness and his looks to really give this Batman a theme, this particular Batman a theme. Because when I heard he was going to be cast as Batman, I said that that's the thing, and I understood exactly where they were going to go with this, because it's perfect when you need someone. Of course, we've all seen the scene where he loses his parents. But what is so crazy when you think about it is, this is the Batman that seems to come out of that situation more than the ones that we got. Like emo, wearing glasses in the crib, like the way his hair's cut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because see, like with the Dark Knight trilogy, it's like we know that you experienced a tragedy, seeing your parents killed in front of you, and I know that that's a bit of a theme that goes throughout Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, but we never saw the aftermath played out to this extent, where, you know, Bruce is still dealing with that. And then on top of that, all of these other things that the Riddler reveals about his family. Now he has to deal with all that.
That's got to be shocking.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, because living your whole life thinking that, because he said in the movie, you know, I spent my whole life trying to, you know what I'm saying, defend him. I think he was talking about his dad from what I remember. You know what I'm saying? I spent my whole life trying to defend him. And so now I'm being confronted with all this info, and now I don't know how to feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And plus I got this crazy psychopathic serial killer out here killing prominent, you know, people in Gotham, and, you know, just, I mean, it's just he's got a lot of stuff going on. But I never saw it played out to this extent like I have in previous Batman movies. So I'm actually glad that they stuck with that. Like, this is a character that's still going through some shit, and y'all gonna stay here and experience this with him, because later on, and it's not just the emotional part with just Batman, but with Selena Kyle as well. I felt an emotional attachment to her story too, Cause like when you talking about Batman and Catwoman's relationship in this movie, because there were some people saying that they had no chemistry or anything like that. I'm just like, I'm like, where? You know what I'm saying? Where did you see that? Because these two are kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Because in the last shot of the movie, when he goes when they driving their motorcycles and she's leaving the city, they're going their separate ways. She's going this way, he's going this way. And that one shot where he's looking into his rearview mirror and he sees her going the other way and then she disappears into the fog. To me, that was a moment where I was just like, damn, man, you know what I'm saying? Because she was like the only one that really, besides, well, I can't even say Jim Gordon to that extent, but it's like she was really the only one that totally understood him without truly knowing him. Like,
right.
She didn't know that he was Bruce Wayne, but she knew that there was a connection there. You know what I'm saying? Like she could see herself in him. So, yeah, for the people who said they didn't have chemistry, I'm just like, where were y'all at the whole movie and shit? So I don't know.
It was strong, and I think one of the better things I like about this universe of Batman is that it's like Keaton's. It's like they're not so much caught up in trying to reverse the town against their own people like it was in the Nolan trilogy. The Nolan trilogy was about trying to turn its people of Gotham on them because they're so bad and using them against each other and destruction. This universe, when Batman and them was in Gotham Square Garden and the water was coming in and he had the Flash, all the people were following him, in another movie, they would have been trying to arrest this guy or trying to get this guy. I like how everybody is not, like everybody's still on the fence, but when time is needed, they know what to do. It's not like, fuck you until you save somebody and then it's like, okay, now we're on your team. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like in this shit, it was like, oh, he's gonna save us. Like when he was there and he was leading the way, everybody started following him and they left the movie like that. Like there's nothing left in the movie that is like, oh, what the Riddler tried to do by exposing Gotham and making the people of Gotham turn on them. It didn't work. And it didn't work. One reason is because Batman upholding who he was at this time, meaning like how Christian Bale dealt with it. You could tell that throughout, or in the Dark Knight and in Dark Knight Rises, he was dealing with, should I help? Should I stop? What Alfred's telling me? I want to be with Rachel. He's dealing with so much, like he wants to quit. He's getting older. Should I go back? There's so much shit that he's dealing with. And in this, it's like, nah, fuck all that shit. I've got to be Batman, which is one of the reasons why him and Selena Kyle at the time split, because of course she tried to get him to go with him. He was like, nah, he said, I have to be Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, this city needs me. I have to be the Batman. So I like that this city is on Batman's side. And I also would like to see, I like that dynamic better than them going against him. So meaning like, as we go farther, I like that I hope there's another attempt to try to turn the city on him. I hope there's another attempt for another villain like Joker or whoever it may be to expose or just finally get deeper than what Riddler did and try to get people to turn on Batman, or to have the city, or hey, they have Batman turn on himself, you know what I'm saying? Like, or put Commissioner Gordon, like right now, they were the Batman and Robin of the situation, of this movie.
They definitely left this movie, they left this movie open, especially with the characters, cause like, you know, Riddler didn't die, Penguin's still out there. You know what I'm saying? Selena Kyle, she didn't die. Jim Gordon's still there. We're gonna see these people again. I don't think this is our only time. I don't think this is our last time seeing Riddler. But I think this
Joker in there feeding him shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But see, Joker's a master manipulator.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I think that's what it's building up to. Because see, Batman needs that moment of redemption now, and I think that's a part of Batman's therapy. Because, I mean, Bruce Wayne is alone, you know what I'm saying? All he's got is Alfred, and I'm like, it's good that Alfred is like your only connection to, Alfred is your only connection to humanity, but it can't just be Alfred all the time.
Right.
And I think that's something he kind of realized. So at the end of the movie, like that narration at the end where he says, you know, people need hope or they need something to believe in or whatever. That shot that you're talking about with the flare at the end, I love that shot because it's like, you know, he's leading people out of the darkness because that's what that's really like the two. That's like the two sides of Batman right there. He is this dark, tortured character, but he also leads people into the light. Ultimately, he's gonna do what's good. That's what it's all about. So him wanting to be that symbol for people, it's like Selena Kyle said at the end, like, you know, when she said, you know, why don't you come with me? And then I guess he looks up at the bat signal and then she looks up at it too and she's like, well, I guess you're already spoken for. Meaning, you know, Gotham has already said that you need to stay here. It's probably not so much about what I want, but it's about what needs to be done here. Even though she said, you know, this is probably gonna kill you, but if this is what's destined for you, then that's what it's gonna be. And I loved that right there. You know,
that in itself,
yeah,
was chemistry.
Yeah.
For the people who were saying they didn't have any chemistry, that dialogue in itself was chemistry that they had right there.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm hoping that she comes back.
Oh, she's coming back.
I'm hoping.
Oh yeah, she's coming back.
And I'm hoping that maybe in some way that her and Bruce can be romantic in this element of Batman. Now, I tell everybody, ain't nobody better than Vicky Vale, because it's not, and it's the only time that you really seen Batman be really in a normal sense of intimate as you get with all the movies. And it's about as intimate as you're gonna get with Batman in all these movies. Like, the best one is Vicky Vale, the girl from the second movie you don't understand. We watched Batman and Robin, who the fuck was that? Rachel ends up getting changed, recast, so that you lose the interest as far as connection wise. So Vicky Vale was the best one that we had out of all the Batman movies until Zoe Kravitz. So for me, it's like, but how this movie is set in tone and the way that it's filmed and the cinematography is, the romantic element. Like, could you imagine if we got like a supercharged Twilight with no Disney, and he had a romantic relationship with Zoe Kravitz in this shit? That would be some of the best shit. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, people love Twilight, bro. It's like that's 90% of like that. The romantic relationship between Edward and old girl. Like, those are the moments that are powerful out of that. Imagine it with no Disney on it, no Disney sprinkle shit on it, and it being real life and him being really romantic with Zoe Kravitz and this film style. Because it's dark. You can be really, you can show tons of passion, tons of shit with this. And you have the two perfect actors to do it. Like, the two perfect. Like, fuck a date, fuck dinner and a long table, fuck all that being rich, fancy shit. Like, give me romantic.
Yeah.
Don't tease the connection and then don't go there. Like, you don't have to give me that in a full movie or have her as leverage. But, like, you know, if they're together or whatever it may be, get that off on camera. Because I think that would be dope to see Bruce Wayne or Batman in this cinematography style for a chance to be real romantic, like be real style, not with all the flamboyant and the gimmicky, because this movie is not flamboyant and gimmicky. Like I was telling about the Batmobile, there's no FaceTime in the console. This is just, like, this is real life. If we went outside, this is who our Batman would be. It'd be Robert Pattinson. He's real life. All he's wearing is a fucking combat suit with, you know, some bulletproof armored on it. And then, you know, the electric thing that's like a taser. His grappling hook was at least more realistic than everybody else's. Everybody else slid across their belt, took off, and did all this other shit. His was boom. You know, almost like a bat flick. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Batfleck's weapons were a little bit more realistic when it comes to his grappling hook or, you know, whatever, something that he made. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was older, but at the same time. And also, this Batman was smarter at a younger age, too. I was gonna speak on that this version of Batman is like Batfleck at the age of, or at year 2, smart. Like, he was very, very smart. The only issue that I had was that his Spanish was terrible, because that's what, if you call them the only moment that they were bad detectives in this movie, that's the only part that they missed. They got everything else. Alfred had ended up helping them, which was sad that you didn't see him in a lot of this movie. And I was like, damn, like, was dude last on the budget, or was like his contract for 6 months?
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
like,
pronoun,
it was incorrect pronoun.
It was crazy. Like Alfred
instead of L.
Oh yeah, it was La. Yeah, that was crazy. Like they did, which ended up switching up the whole thing.
And it was a URL, like fuck.
And I did enjoy the Riddler's trap, trying to flood Gotham. In a sense, it was like cleansing it. I thought that was dope, and how they did it. At first, I didn't get it, but then when I started seeing what was about to go down, I thought that was like masterful. You can't ask any questions in this movie. Well, how did he do that? Like, everything is real. You know what I'm saying? Like the blowing up, the explosions. It wasn't like these huge galactic explosions. They were like regular explosions.
So like when people said that, well, I ain't gonna. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But it's like with. Well, no, actually, I will touch on that. As far as it being like realistic, like this movie was more character driven and more story driven. Like I said, aside from the action, and like this is probably the most realistic Batman that we've had. Period. Like Nolan's trilogy, it was realistic, but there still was a fantasy aspect to it, though.
I mean, the Tumbler.
Yeah, Tumbler and Two-Face.
You know what I'm saying?
And Two-Face.
Walking zombie.
Yeah. So, but when people talked about how, because a lot of people talked about how the third act is like the weakest of the whole entire movie, and all that stuff, and I was like, well, this is the thing. If this was advertised as like a big budget action film, which I know in the trailers it seems that way, when you see the actual movie, you realize, bless you, you realize that this is more story driven, and those are the most important parts of the film. It's like I was explaining to somebody, last night. He was like, I give the movie a 7. I mean, which, whatever people's opinions are about the movie, there are their opinions. This movie's not going to be for everybody. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn, but for a reason. But he was like, I wish it had more action. And then there was something else that he said. And I was like, well, like I said in the beginning, this is a movie about Batman. They had to establish Batman. If you had a whole bunch of explosions and a whole bunch of chase scenes and all that stuff, that would have been forgotten about. The chase scene with the Penguin complemented Batman. We can't get Batman, you don't want Batman to complement an action scene. Everything in the movie complemented this one character. Mm-hmm. Everything was centered around that. Selena Kyle, Penguin, everybody was reacting to Batman. It wasn't Batman reacting to everything else.
Right.
Because as we see, the Riddler was inspired a little bit by seeing what Batman was doing. You know what I'm saying? Just like you see the criminals running away from the shadows, spray painting something. They see the bat signal in the sky and they're like, oh shit, we got to get out of here. Everybody's reacting to this force that's out here. With the Nolan trilogy, but see, that's the reason why I like Batman Begins a lot. Because Batman Begins solidified that element of fear. It showed that element of fear that Batman brings. It was all about Batman. In The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, that's lost a little bit. Batman takes a bit of a back seat. But for the first movie in a trilogy or the first movie in a series, the main character has to be established greatly. But I think with Robert Pattinson though, and I will say Robert Pattinson is like my new favorite Batman.
Yeah, mine too.
Of all time. Because he was doing things with his mannerisms and with his eyes that I did not. Christian Bale had it a little bit. Some of the iterations of Batman do. You know, Ben Affleck does as well. I thought Ben Affleck was a really good Batman. Really good. But subtlety was used a lot in this movie. Matt Reeves was able to do a whole lot with doing very little. Mm-hmm. Just like when the cop Martinez finds Batman in Riddler's apartment, and Martinez like, "Man, what are you doing in here?" And Batman just looks at him like,
"Yeah, don't say nothing." He just keep looking.
Like,
at
no, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
He just keeps turning around and looking at it. Don't say nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, bruh, like that's.
And he got that Batman humor across so perfectly because he wasn't even trying to be funny at all. I mean, he wasn't even trying. He was just reacting to. I don't know how to explain it. Like the whole thumb drive thing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He takes something gruesome like that, and he's just like, well.
He said,
"Here you go.
Thumb drive."
Yeah, but it's just, you know, I really like that. It's this deadpan humor, stuff that's not supposed to be funny. He's just like, well, you know, I've seen some fucked up stuff, so here's, you know what I'm saying, here's one of them. But that's what this movie was about, and I appreciate that. Batman was the central theme of it, and everything in the movie was complimenting Batman. So, you know, just like I said, all the villains, you know, the chase scene or whatever, the criminals, you know what I'm saying, everybody was reacting to him. Jim Gordon was reacting to him. You know, when in the beginning where they went into the mayor's house after the mayor was murdered or whatever, they're investigating the crime scene. Everybody's eyes is on Batman because they're trying to see what he's going to do. Like, and I love that they highlighted Batman being such a great detective in this one because he is labeled the world's greatest detective, and they put that on Front Street in this movie. The part that I loved was when he first walked into the mayor's like living room or common area or whatever, and you see him looking down on the floor at something, and it's something that the forensic people didn't really pick up on, but he saw it. It was that bloody footprint on the ground. So when it comes to that shot, you see that's what he was looking at. Then the forensics person with the camera comes up behind him like, "Oh yeah, let me take a shot of that."
Basically following him around.
Yeah, following him around because he's able to, you know, I'm glad that they put that out there. But it was really about just establishing Batman as the person that we're going to need him to be later on. You know what I'm saying? He is the world's greatest detective. It's like what Matt Reeves and company wanted to do was they wanted to live up to what we think Batman should be in this world and in this universe. You know what I'm saying? Or how we think of Batman. And that's exactly what he did. And that's the reason why I say, you know, I love the movie, by the way. No, I know y'all can probably tell, but I love the movie. But it was like the most perfect Batman movie ever made to me because it highlighted the things that you want Batman to do. You know what I'm saying? And they highlighted that stuff so well. They established that character greatly. You know, if some people prefer other Batman films over this one, that's okay. But you can't tell me in terms of depicting Batman as he truly is, you can't tell me that the other films beat this one. Mm-mm. Ain't no way.
We didn't even really get a realistic Batman until Batfleck since '89, and then now we got another one. You know what I'm saying? Like, Batfleck, and the thing about the depiction of Batfleck is what you see, like when you go, like if you went to a store and bought a Batman comic book,
yeah,
you're gonna get the depiction of Batfleck.
Yeah.
Like especially nowadays, like you see a DC comics, you're gonna get what Batfleck looked like. Bigger bats, you know, really, really tiny. Even Pattinson's were tiny.
Tiny ears.
But they're like tiny ears, you know what I'm saying? Which is more like the Adam West thing where it's just, it's just more.
Those bat ears are little, like they're short. They have short ears.
Yeah, they're not exaggerated like the. You know what I'm saying?
They're not bunny
Keens.
ears.
Yeah.
They're bat ears, and
Yeah.
they're little.
Yeah.
They're short. They have short ears.
Even with Catwoman's costume, I love how subtle that was.
Yeah.
Because I sort of like what they did with Anne Hathaway's costume in Dark Knight Rises as well. But like with Selena Kyle's Catwoman costume in here, like costume in this movie, like she has the mask and she has the pointed things on the side, but they're not exaggerated. But it's sort of like, hint,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a cat burglar, I'm a master thief.
Right, it's a cat.
Yeah, and I like seeing the shit that she can use to get into. I like seeing like her tools and like her kit and stuff that she uses to be able to break into shit.
Yeah.
And then Batman comes up behind and he's like,
She was like, Jesus,
Yeah.
the whole movie.
but I liked it when he said, "You're really good at that."
Yeah.
But just all the subtle things, just like, hint, I'm a cat burglar, I'm a master thief, this is Catwoman. And
Right, because they portrayed as cat burglar.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, her portrayal of Catwoman and Hathaway's portrayal of Catwoman is more reminiscent of the Selena Kyle character that we got earlier on in the comic, in the early days of the comics, especially in the 40s and stuff. Like in the first official issue of the Batman, you had Joker, who was already like Joker, but then you had Selena Kyle, who was known as like a master thief, but they just simply called her the Cat. So I like the subtleness. In Dark Knight Rises, they didn't call Anne Hathaway Catwoman one time. They just said, cat burglar. Then she had a costume, her goggles look like cat ears and shit like that.
Like when she put them up on her head.
Yeah, it's like I know y'all see what's going on here. Don't make me have to make it so obvious.
Right.
So yeah. No.
But before we get out of here, you guys, I hope you enjoyed our non-spoiler review. I hope you really enjoyed this movie. I feel like I'm gonna want to watch it again. I can't wait till it's on streaming and I can have a copy of this shit.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this movie since last night. I'm very proud of DC for this movie. And I'm hoping that through their changes, Warner Brothers changes in the next few months, that DC can end up being on the right path. And I'm excited to see the shows because Peacemaker was outstanding.
Yeah, that was my shit.
Peacemaker is outstanding. So
I just finished it yesterday.
So,
but yeah, it was good too.
I'm excited to see more shows for DC. I'm excited to see, them get back to who they should be, right next to Marvel, and maybe in some spots better than Marvel. So,
yeah, because it's like with DC and me and him talk about, we all talk about Marvel and DC stuff all the time. And Marvel's killing it right now. There's no denying that they have the winning formula. But see, I think when DC does stuff like this, this is their bag. Because see, DC, in my opinion, they're not supposed to be like Marvel. You know what I'm saying? It's a comic book universe, of course. But to me, they have the quintessential heroes to be able to do things with. See, like Batman's gonna be fine. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Like the Justice League, etc.
But like the DCEU and all that stuff, I don't know what's going on over there right now, but like with this Batman universe that Matt Reeves is creating, it's like they're gonna make this their own world. Like this is gonna be a huge staple for DC in the coming years. And it just might be another case once again where, even when it comes, Batman is going to be standing. If the DCEU can't get it right, you can always count on Batman to be able to do something. Because Batman's been doing it by himself for such a long time now. But, Batman and Spider-Man, like I say, these two guys are the two most relatable comic book characters all the time. People have a connection with both of these guys. So Spider-Man all by himself, Batman all by himself, those two are going to be fine always, no matter what. But this is DC's bag right here. And Warner Brothers, I'ma just say this. Y'all been fucking up with the DCEU. I don't know what type of I don't know what's going on with y'all's creative department over there. Why you can't get the writing and shit together for some of these movies. I understand that y'all don't have a Kevin Feige over there to oversee everything and to be involved in every project. But now that you have a film like this, which to me is unlike any other comic book movie I've ever seen, y'all have something really, really special in Matt Reeves. And whatever he wants to do, y'all better fucking listen, because just like Christopher Nolan, Matt Reeves is a great fucking director. Just like how you know, Wally Pfister was the cinematographer for Christopher Nolan. Greg Fraser did a great job with the cinematography, helping out Matt Reeves in this one. Y'all take care of that team over there, because, you know, they are going to be your new money makers when it comes to whatever it is that y'all are trying to do over there. So y'all treat them good over there, because the Christopher Nolan thing, he just left y'all, went over to Universal. And y'all just shit on that. So make better decisions next time, Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers got to get it together. Before we get out of here, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up on the video. Give us the thumbs up. All right, give us the thumbs up. Let us know down in the comments how you feel about it. Talk about it all you want. Spoilers, non-spoilers. I want to know your opinions. Yeah. How you feel about the Batman. How you feel about Robert Pattinson. Where do you rank him in the Batmans or the Batmen?
Yeah, because y'all know my opinion. I told you in the non-spoiler one.
And everybody has their opinions about different things. But what y'all cannot say though is that this wasn't a quality film or quality filmmaking, because it definitely was. The cinematography was excellent. The performances were excellent. Like I said, you know, the style may not be for everybody, and that's absolutely okay. And I know movies are subjective, but like, if it was just all subjective, then why do we rank things the way that we do? How can we call something a good film versus calling something a bad film? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, you know, it's okay to have opinions on different things like that. Me and him don't always agree on shit, you know what I'm saying? All the time, you know what I'm saying?
But it's fun, healthy, like, conversation.
Yeah.
It's never...
Yeah, most definitely. So, yeah, have a conversation in the comments section or whatever. Subscribe to their channel. If you're already subscribed, take part in the conversation and all that. And I appreciate these two for having me.
Of course.
And discussing this. And we'll be back for Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
Doctor Strange.
Probably Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Yep. Maybe the last 2 episodes of WandaVision. We'll try to do that. Yeah. Try live stream. You feel me? So
our conversation, maybe you guys can interact with us as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys, make sure you guys also are checking out We Trap Music. That's our sponsor. They're on all social media platforms. I'm gonna leave them in the description down in the link so you guys can check them out. All right. I'm Fireworks. This is White Gold. I got my guy Dizzie here with us, and this is Snoopers Gonna Snoop YouTube channel. And we out.
Snoopers gonna snip, Snoopers gonna snip, Snoopers gonna snip, bitch, not your bitch.